Lisa, can you hear us?
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
Okay.
We're all set on my end, Tony.
Who?
Lisa said we were all set on her end.
Can you hear me, Elise?
Yes, I can. You're all set. You're live streaming.
All
I hear
right.
you too.
Yeah, I just look at Elisa, the forms are still the old forms and that are in this drawer unless I'm looking in the wrong place. They still have the old committee and members on.
Okay, just put a line through the old names and just print in the new ones and we'll make the correction.
All right. Sounds good. I'm cold. You know. All right. So we don't have too much on this committee. Welcome, everybody. So we're gonna start this meeting at 6:35 p.m. The Public Safety and General Government meeting. Apologize that I've got this mask on. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Today is what, 26, 22, 6:35 p.m. And I don't think I have to say present. I mean, I'm just trying to remember everybody who's on this committee. I mean, I do have a sheet, so we got myself here, we got Alderwoman Barbara Hill of Ward 1, Naima Muhammad of Ward 5, Mike Oliveri, Ward 7. Is Michelle Hurst here today, or someone sitting in for her?
I'm only here because of the item on the agenda, but if she's not present, I can stick around.
I didn't hear, I see Rita's face, I'm not sure if Rita was standing in for her. I didn't receive any email or anything saying that she wasn't gonna be here.
And I just called her.
I didn't know Michelle wasn't going to be there, but I think she did. Well, I didn't know she was going to be there, but I'm also here if you need me to stand in.
All right, yeah, I mean, we got a quorum as it is with 4 of us, so it should be, the only thing, we only got 1 or 2 items on the agenda. And first thing up on the agenda then is a new business update from engineer. And I believe John Solprice, I believe he left the message that he will not be in present today. So it says Chisholm Company's traffic study, Alderman Scott and Rennie Scott Childress. Do you have something to present to us about this?
Yeah, I can let you know a couple things. One is that the report from the Chazen companies finds that the impact on traffic in the area of the potential development at the old jail site on Golden Hill will be minimal. They looked closely at the question of whether or not to install a traffic light at the intersection of Golden Hill Drive and Route 32. And as you may know, traffic engineers go by what are called warrants. And those are different kinds of tests. And they've got various criteria. And if there are a lot of warrants that call for particular action, they're more likely to recommend something. In this particular case, there's only one warrant that the Chazen Company study came up with for a traffic light at that intersection. And because of various issues relating to it, for example, the bad sight lines in the northbound lane of 32, they're recommending against a traffic light put there. The other thing is that they are a little ambivalent on the question of putting up some kind of closure for Glen Street. Some of the analysis was done with that as an assumption. What would happen if they closed off Glen Street? And their analysis was that the number of vehicles that would be transferred to that intersection at 32 and Golden Hill Drive would be minimal, and would add less than a second of wait time for people at that intersection at the busiest times of day. Their sixth and last item, though, suggests a closure, and I'm not sure if they've been in communication with the county, but it says Ulster County will proceed with the closure of this connector pending legal reviews. A closure system will be designed to allow access for emergency vehicles. And if you remember Tony going a ways back, Rita, I don't know if you were even on the council when we first talked about this, but Chief Brown, former Chief Brown of the fire department, was adamantly against any kind of closure for fear that it would add some kind of time onto the travel of emergency vehicles if they had to use Glen Street to get to or from the Golden Hill Senior Facility up there. So it seems like they are recommending the closure of that. But again, as you may know, that would be a county issue because that little bit of road that's next to the parking lot up at Golden Hill is in fact county property. It's an easement from the county. So the city would not be involved in any closure right there. So at this point, it's not looking like the city would have much involvement with altering the traffic flow. It would be up to Ulster County to engage in closing off Glen Street.
All right. Thanks for the information. Information I got from city engineer John Schulteis is that when he had stated that there was no new information per the city engineer or no comment letter yet. So and that is what he stated to us, in that we should postpone this agenda item to next month when we might have some more information. So.
Right.
And Rennie, if I could add a little to that, I work at UCAT, which is right there.
Yeah.
And it does give me cause for concern because there are almost daily instances where my drivers have to slam on their brakes at the bottom of that 32 intersection because cars are flying up the road. So for them, you know, I'm not, I guess I am questioning their analysis of that because, you know, this housing complex is going to add more traffic there and there's just more potential for accidents. Because like I said, on a daily basis, our drivers are slamming on their brakes because they're getting ready to go and a car is flying up the hill.
2 points there are first that they did a crash analysis, and that's what these sorts of reports look at. And the 3 crashes, none of them were directly related to the layout of the intersection there. Only one of them, because 3 of them had to do with running into deer, not vehicles. There was one that was a rear end collision. So in a fairly long period of time here, there hasn't been an actual collision. I hear what you're saying about being concerned, but if there aren't actual crashes, that's what the traffic engineers are going to go by. So it's hard for them to quantify the kind of incidents that you're talking about. So there might be some place to talk to them about that, about how you deal with the psychology, the anxiety of going through an intersection like that. And they would point out as part of that, that if you did put in a traffic light there, you actually run the risk of increasing the possibility of crashes because of the bad sight lines of northbound traffic. So if you've got somebody coming fast around the curve, over the hill, and there's a red light there, and there's traffic that's stopped, that's the kind of thing that can actually, you think you're doing something better by putting in a traffic light, you're in fact making it more dangerous. So it's definitely an issue to bring up, definitely one to be aware of, and definitely one to keep talking to the traffic engineers and John Schulteis about. The second issue has to do with, so the first one was traffic engineers. Intersection. I forgot what the second one is, but you know, I totally hear what you're saying. We've had this issue along Washington Avenue where we transformed a number of intersections from traffic lights to stop signs, four-way stops. And so a number of people have expressed deep anxiety because they've almost had a crash. But the crucial thing is that they haven't actually had a crash. And that's what the traffic engineers are looking at.
Okay, anybody, any other discussion? Because right now, I would suggest that we postpone this until we can get more information from the city engineer and next month in regard to, as he stated, maybe a comment letter or something like that, and further information that we can gather, because right now we don't have any.
Sorry, Tony, I remember the second thing, which is, Michael, you may remember that the old jail was up there. And so, you know, it might behoove asking John Schulteis or the Ulster County traffic folks if they have data, crash data going back to when the jail was up there, because I think the number of trips was probably about the same as what they're figuring for this housing development because of all the workers who were there, you know, going in and out. So that might be a way of getting a different angle on how much traffic actually uses that particular intersection. Sorry about that.
This is going to be, I believe, yes, it's going to be, is this going to be senior housing, Rand, that they're proposing?
Part of it, one of the buildings would be dedicated to senior housing. The others are dedicated to, you know, workforce level, little affordable housing as well. So all the units would be means tested, as it were. You have to show that your income is at a certain level in order to move in there. It's not going to be free market rate rents.
Any other questions? So again, this, I don't know if Rand, you could straighten me out, I guess is the word. Can I just do we need a vote to postpone this?
No, there's no issue on the table. I'm just following up with letting you know where we're at with looking at issues of traffic relating to the potential development up there.
Brendan, can you send me that report, please?
It's on the city's website. If you go to the planning department and look under projects, you'll see it's called Penrose. I don't remember if it says Golden Hill, but Penrose is the developer that the county selected for the property.
And that's underneath the planning. If you go to the website, underneath planning, and then projects, and then Penrose.
Yeah, and then you'll see there's various reports and so forth on different things. Traffic is one.
All right. All right.
So, Tony, may I ask a question, please?
Yeah, go on, Rita.
Okay, so my understanding is that next month then John Schulteis will have a study for us as well, so we can compare the two?
I'm not sure if he's gonna have a study. All I know is from the communication I received today is that there is no new information at this time and no comment letter yet. So that's why it was I suggested that it be postponed, and hopefully next month we have some more new some information. And he didn't say guarantee we'll have anything, but he doesn't have anything at this time. So that's why I'm just postponing it, so we can keep it on the agenda, and hopefully, like, you know, February has some more information for the committee members.
All right, so it looks like you've got enough people to carry on the work of the committee.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to cut out then. Thanks for the chance to talk.
Okay. Thank you, then.
Bye, all.
So the only thing else that we have here then is Ted, I'm not gonna hold you, Ted, and Grease, so I'm gonna let you go ahead to give us an update on the CAP. Welcome.
Okay, great.
Hey, Ted.
Hi, I'm Ted Greasy.
Greasy.
I'm member of the Conservation Advisory Council. For anyone who might not know, the mission of the CAC is to ensure conservation of Kingston's natural resources the enhancement and protection of its environment while fostering unified action on environmental matters. My understanding is you haven't had an update in a few months, so I'm just running through a few things. Our 2021 report is under just a final review, so it will be made available within the next month and posted to the CAC page on the city website. And we are also going to start posting on social media, just do some outreach. So that'll be happening this year. We're up to 7 members right now. We have 3 new members, including myself, and Emily Hauser continues to be the chair. We're still recruiting new members, and we do have, we're allowed to have 1 youth member over the age of 16. So if anyone knows any environmentally minded youth, we're happy to have them. So just a few highlights from our report. Work continues on our wood burning air quality subcommittee. As you may know, a new anti-idling law went into effect January 1st. That might hopefully help curb some emissions in our city. Vehicles idling for more than 10 minutes may be subject to a fine of $20, and that increases to $40 for future violations. And there are exceptions for things like extreme temperatures and work vehicles, things like that. I've been told that the administration is over the next few months going to start messaging the new legislation out to the community and educating the public on that. I don't know if it's really being enforced yet until that happens, but it is winter too, so we're kind of in that extreme temperature buffer zone right now for that. We've been working with Bard Community Science Lab to monitor and report air quality in Kingston. The end goal is to have a publicly accessible dashboard on the city website to see in real time what the air quality is in the city, and also to make recommendations on when people should and should not burn wood, whether outside or in their fireplace, because Bard has actually been able to recognize that there's some weather patterns and conditions that trap smoke over the city. So we're hoping to get to the point where we can put out notices, like encouraging people not to have fires during certain times. So yeah, that's exciting. Well, there should be news on that soon. I think it's the dashboard's in like a test mode right now, but hopefully will be launched within the next few months. We're also continuing our water quality septic code review initiative to evaluate whether systems present in Kingston are a cause for concern and whether any action is necessary to ensure protections on that front. In 2021, the CAC supported the city's application for funding a community preservation plan to advance the work we've put into the open space plan and natural resource inventory. The city did just get a DEC grant for the plan, and I believe right now the RFP is out and a committee is forming to review RFP responses. I think that it's going to happen pretty quick here. I don't remember the exact timeline, but Julie Noble is managing that. And a possible outcome of the plan being approved is the ability for Kingston to establish a community preservation fund. That's a big process that would actually require a referendum vote. So you can expect to hear more from us about that at future meetings. And yeah, those are the big highlights where we're going to continue advising on things like the rezoning process, street tree initiative, certain planning board proposals that are within our mission and scope, and other environmental reviews. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I've got. If you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Any questions? And Ted, I just want to clarify, you were going to be the person that's gonna speak to us every month, so we just make sure that you're always being invited to the meetings, is that correct?
Yes, yep, I've been designated as the liaison to this committee
All
for
right.
this year.
Hey, Ted, is it somewhere on the website or something, the other members of I'm just curious who's actually on. I know Emily, but it would be good to see who else is on.
Yes, they just updated the CAC page of the Kingston website with the new members. The other people are Helen Atkinson, Sebastian Pilateri, Kevin McAvoy, and Anita Atkinson, and myself. And Julie Noble also is at all the meetings too.
Okay, thanks, Ted.
Any other questions for Ted? Ted, thank you again. We'll see you next month.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, take care. All right, so the other agenda item, an old business, is the handicap parking on Fairview Avenue. This was brought up originally by former Alderman Jeffrey Ventura Morel, and now it's Alderwoman Barbara Hill.
That's right. I spoke to Jeffrey today. He said exactly this, that back in December 2nd, you can see his email. Also that, he was requesting the city engineer look at it, to look for a possible nearest allowable spot. I was going to ask the engineer tonight if he had found any solutions. Jeffrey did say he had some communication on the 27th or the 28th regarding this, and he was alerting me to it, and I was hoping the engineer would be here tonight to ask. So then, the next step would be, I don't know if we go to the building department to say,
Nope.
is it handicapped, accessible, whatever.
You went to your building department. I spoke to Jeffrey and I spoke to the city engineer, and I'd like to get out and as the chair of public safety, when something comes up that looks like it's questionable, I try to get out and take a ride and see what's going on with this. And so after speaking to the city engineer in regard to this request for a handicap, and I also reached out to inform Jeffrey and the constituent that they needed to have an updated handicap sticker. The original one was from the town of Hurley. That's not acceptable in the city of Kingston. And I do have that new one. So I do have an updated handicap sticker from the city of Kingston. And I did go and drive on Fairview Avenue, and it's tough over there. And I took pictures.
Yeah.
So
there's a hill too. So you coming, whatever.
yeah, there's no hill on where I see here. Fairview Avenue, for some reason, on the side of Fairview Avenue, which I believe is the east side of that street, they have requests, there's stickers, and I can show you guys or pass it around here. There's no parking. So it's got these signs that says no parking for about, I would say about a good 75 meters, if that.
Yeah.
Right only in the location of Fairview Garden Avenue. Then when you get past that, there is no parking restrictions on either side.
It's boom.
Correct. And then on the other side, the west side, there is this thing where it says no parking tollway zone 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. So that's on the west side. And so this is the west side, this is the east side. But again, right after you get past the Fairview Gardens on the east side at 84 Fairview Avenue, this is 20-minute parking in front of 84.
Right. It makes no sense up there. So remember, I was going door to door and I was freaked out to park anywhere.
So it just sounds like they're trying to stop people from parking on that side of the complex. But as to why, I think that's why we need to talk to the engineer, but.
When I spoke to the engineer, he's requested that if we go ahead with approving this, that we put this handicap sign in I would say across from 79 Fairview Avenue. So it would be allowed parking on the same side as this 20-minute parking, even though it says no parking on this side and here, we would probably have to have, well, let me go back. He's requesting to have handicap at 79, in front of 79 Fairview Avenue, which is across the street from this gentleman's apartment complex. I see from the pictures here that the constituent or his daughter, because this is a 91-year-old constituent,
Yeah,
wants the sign, handicap sign, right in front of his apartment,
right.
which basically says, no parking,
Right,
no parking here, no parking this side of the street.
right.
That restriction is only right there at Fairview Avenue. Once you get past Fairview Avenues, there is no
Right.
parking restrictions on either way. But for some reason, is this between that complex, on both entrances to the complex where it says no parking? For whatever reason, I don't know. But John's stating that if we're gonna put anything, to put it 79 Fairview Avenue, which is on this side of the street.
Well, whatever. It makes no sense. This
Yeah.
never made sense to me. I thought
Mhm.
that stretch right there where it says no parking aside, I thought, why is that? I always thought, why is that? I thought, was it because of emergency vehicles
Yeah.
needing to come in and out of the complex? For me, there is a hill, but that's not what's the problem. The problem is people are parking on either side of the street, so to get through up there, like people walk that route too,
Mhm.
and it's dangerous. People go fast going in and out of there. But that is very strange. I don't know, why can't a handicap space be carved out of this no parking zone here?
So what we would have to do is we would have to request from DPW to remove the no parking this side of the street in front of that complex.
Okay, so,
That's something you would have to do.
oh, that's up to me.
Yeah,
I'll take your
I mean,
time.
we can request, I can write this up and say that we're requesting to put handicap sign in front of the location across the street from 79 Fairview Avenue.
Yeah,
Part of the reason, because 79 Fairview Avenue. So we can say that we want it on the other side of the street from 79 Fairview Avenue, which is on this side where it says no parking,
it would
this
be
side of the street.
So
much safer.
did we find out at all why they decided to do this?
No, John, so.
Because I think that will be the answer as to, that'll answer that question, because if they're stating you can't park on this side because, all the cars parked along there will impede plow trucks or traffic from going through, that would kind of give us our answer, because this is a heavily dense area. Like, I'm all for giving this guy his parking pass, believe me, I'm not arguing that at all, but, I mean, there was a reason
Yeah.
they decided to do this, and I think we need to figure out what that reason is before we go ahead and then fight for the parking spot.
Because that's what I was saying, is it an emergency vehicle thing? But right there is it's scary because you
Yeah.
can't get through there.
So,
And so what I would say though, what made more sense to me, if there's parking restrictions on the side where the houses are and none on the side with these guys, that makes more sense to me unless the homeowners really have been fighting to keep their space in front of their house, but they have driveways. I mean, whatever. Actually, I know we're being recorded, hi
Yeah.
ladies. And
oh, man, I know you guys can't see it, but again, so we gotta figure it out. I mean, we can print this off until next month where you can find out more information.
Is it finding more out from the engineer first? Would the engineer know the history of why that's there, the no parking in that
I think
zone?
the history is pretty important.
Yeah, he might know some more history, so you reach out to John Schulteitz.
So I'm gonna reach out to the engineer
Mhm.
and we make night and we're very pleasant to these people, that they're patient as we figure this out. And then whatever John says, figure out if the handicap, the preference would be to have it on the side of the street,
Correct.
not across the street. It would be interesting to know what his logic was about it being across the street.
Because I know the daughter requested it here, right in front of the house.
Yeah.
Again, right
Which is
here,
on
on
this
this
side.
side.
Yep.
On this side, it says no parking tollway zone from 6 PM to 6 AM, which is not gonna help him when he's sleeping from 6 PM to 8 AM at nighttime. That's hard to be
I
told.
think there's a higher good though, not just for her father.
Mhm,
It's the right thing for up here. There's something wrong up there
mhm.
because I couldn't figure it out in terms of where to park, what's going on. It didn't make sense to me, all that signage.
And again, the signage is only right there
Right.
in that vicinity of
And
Fairview
it
Avenue.
switches like that.
And then as soon as you pass by Fairview Avenue, there's no signage on either side of the street.
I'll call the engineer
All right.
and see what the next steps are.
Okay, so we'll,
And I'll reach out to the family and say we're working on it.
you want to hold on to this?
Okay.
I'm good, it has something to do with
Just please.
emergency response
I think so,
in that
too.
section.
Because they have to have the right angles going in. There's a lot of exits and entrances, and there's a lot of units there.
Yeah.
So I put some information on the back that I have here, but here, we just need this handicap.
Sticker, get the new sticker.
You need to bring this new sticker back. If we go through with this new sticker has to go with the communication.
I don't know what you're saying.
So if we go through this, if we pass this, this sticker has to be with my committee report. It has to be
Once we
attached.
get through. So this will be,
Correct, so we can't, so we're not doing anything yet until you speak to the city engineer and get some more information.
right,
And once you do that, if we go through the vote, I need that back,
right,
okay? Because that needs to go with this committee report.
all right.
So
And
hold on
then,
to that.
does this go to, so I'm helping another constituent upgrade their handicap parking pass, and I figured out it's at the police department.
That's correct, they had to go to the police department to
Does
get that.
this go there eventually, or is this a whole separate kind of?
Your constituent already has this. They already have this tag to be placed on their car.
Right, but it's registered, and they're from Hurley at the
No,
No, this one is Kingston, you got an updated one.
You got,
This
you
is
got,
correct.
okay, got it.
This one's from Kingston, he has the original, this is a copy. This, whenever we get through doing this resolution, this committee report, this has to be a staple to it. Because the city has to see.
This is that. All right.
Correct, so we need to bring that back with that, and once you've spoken to the city engineer, so right now, this old business, we're just gonna table it. And it's been tabled twice, now for the third table, Barbara, just wanna let you know, it has to get removed, there's no action. So we tabled it last month with Jeffrey,
So it has to happen.
it's something's gotta be done, or you have to you have to just bring it up for a new
Well, you
business.
gave it
again.
to the right person.
All right, okay, so I'm just gonna leave it on here that we're tabling that still, right? No business on that until we hear from you next month. And other than that, I have no new or old business. Anybody have anything else? Hmm?
Is there,
Yep.
there's one thing,
Yep.
a constituent, and I didn't bring it, but I printed it out. Somebody, and he sent it to not just me. And it was something about, was it John Grossblind? Grossblind, I don't know, I can look it up on my phone, but it's too late. He sort of did his own little traffic study of where Grandma Brown Lane comes into Washington.
I haven't seen anything about it.
And I'll find it and I'll send it to people, but I thought it was kind of, like, he wanted to alert that there was like a public safety issue at a certain intersection. He had taken some, like a video and stuff. When things like that come up or come to me, do I bring it
No,
forward?
you have to forward anything that you want to be put onto a committee, you have to forward it to Andrea. All the women, all the women at large.
In a few days, a certain number of days before?
You should do it as soon as possible, because if it's a few days before, it won't get taken on that month's agenda.
I understand.
So if you have given let's say, for example, if you had given that information to her yesterday, it wouldn't have made it on this month's agenda.
Yeah, I know, you have to give it in a timely way, I understand that.
So any communication, anything you want to be on a committee, you have to forward to her, and then Andrea makes the decision what committee it goes to.
Oh, okay, so
Right. Most likely.
that was
it's got
in
things
that was in the
posted.
invitation, right?
Right there. So yeah, so any communication that you want a committee to look at, that you want to have discussed, it has to go to all the women show up. and then she puts it out to the committee, and then the chair of that committee gets it, approves that it can go on that committee, on that agenda for that month, and then then discussed at that committee meeting.
All right,
All right, and then once the committee votes on it, or tables it, postpones it, they vote on it, boom, then it has to go to the whole committee, the whole common council, the next month. Or it could be that same month, but most likely it's the next month, because every committee meets after the common council meeting, so then it will go to the full council the next month to be voted on.
okay,
All
all
right,
right,
okay?
yep.
Any other questions? No, that's good. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mike, second?
Second.
All right, Hill, all in favor? Good. This meeting is adjourned at 7:09.
Not bad.
Good night, everybody.
All right, thank you.